can begin to understand what they're trying to say. It might as well be written in Swahili for all of the sense that it initially makes. And so I'm not particularly inspired to put a lot more effort in the hope that the pearl of wisdom will reveal itself to me. At a certain point, you hit a law of diminishing returns.
It isn't just a question of the difficulties of communication. There is a profound barrier between scientists and inventors, and a strong reluctance on the part of most scientists to risk their reputations grappling with issues that don't have a clear scientific pedigree.
Reluctance to look foolish inhibits a lot of people from looking at things. This is looked at as a pariah. You touch it, and it creates an image of you that you don't want your colleagues to see.
One extreme, you might have things that are guaranteed to work.
All right, we have our little experimental setup here.
At the other extreme, things that are a real long shot but would be revolutionary.
Free energy device
so you
which
have to
we've
try
made.
and weigh the balance.
Basically, what this is
which side is more
two
likely to be
magnets
profitable for you.
that are
then
sandwiching
having made some choices, you then have to ask yourself, and how do I actually go about doing this? Do I have to apply for funds to do it? And if I do, who will I be competing with? And what is the better chance that this will be supported or that? Because at least in the big science area that I work, you can't just sort of come up with an idea on a Friday and expect to start the experiment on a Saturday. It takes many months, many years even,
wrapped around this
of preparation.
capacitor and magnets. Turn this on straight to the millivoltage. And in the millivolt range, we're picking up 5.2 millivolts in the 200 volt range, or 200 millivolt range. Now, as you see, one of the things to note is that this capacitor has never been charged. There's never been put an electrical charge on it. And if you test one of these supercaps by themselves, you will not find a buildup of charge in the cap without a charge being placed on it. And there's no charging happening here because we're not hitting the resistance, so you know this meter is not charging it up. Alright, now let me show you here. We take our leads, cross them. As we cross them, it zeroes out. Alright, got it zeroed out. Now just as quick as I let go, jumps right back up. It's at 4.2. Now, if I leave this overnight, or 4.3, if I leave this overnight, it will charge itself back up to 5.2 millivolts. That's the first demonstration.
Research and development, Gamma Manager KFT has discovered and harnessed a new source of energy, one that's commercially viable and destined to revolutionize the future of energy production. This technology, known as the EBM machine, or Energy by Motion machine, is a uniquely configured rotating machine using laminated steels and copper windings, similar in many ways to large commercial motors or generators in use today. The similarity, however, ends when one measures the combined electrical and heat output while being rotated through the magnetic field. A previously unknown source of energy, which exists in the magnetic field, is extracted and utilized due to its unusual geometry and high iron loss. These and other parameters enable existing EBM machines to consistently produce more than 40% excess sellable energy, and the commercial units produce significantly more. Leading the development team for the last 20 years has been Professor Leslie I. Szabo. His research is documented in over 60 publications, monographs, and books. Working on a belief that the inherent energy within the electromagnetic field had not been fully tapped, Dr. Szabo organized a team of highly specialized scientists and engineers to begin studying the effects of manipulating the magnetic field. Initially, there were simultaneous labs in Toronto, Budapest, London, and Houston, each working on various aspects of this research. Since 1986, Gamma Manager KFT, the Canadian company's successor, has been based in Budapest. That's where scientists and engineers have concentrated their efforts on perfecting the energy by motion EBM technology, a highly efficient and economical type of cogeneration system for electricity as well as heat and shaft power using electromagnetic fields as fuel. The process of perfecting this technology was accomplished using classical engineering due diligence. A mathematical model was then created. A prototype would be constructed and tested. The exact measurement of the input-output ratios of the energy was then calculated. This test data would then be checked against the mathematical model to ensure that the scientists were on the right track. This was done for several years, until the geometry was altered and perfected, and significant energy gains could be measured. The Gamma Laboratory Museum of odd-looking rotating devices represent but a few of the 100 or so prototype units built, tested, and discarded. The BB Lego unit is the first true EBM machine to employ the unusual geometry discovered by the Gamma scientists, and it tipped the scales at a mere 150 kilograms. Considered a toy by some onlookers, and though its output is measured in mere watts, it proved the technology as early as 1992. Next to be designed and built was the C4 unit, weighing in at 1,500 kilograms. This unit was tested and retested for the next 4 years, allowing the scientific team to better understand the operating parameters. The C4 unit was tested for well over 100,000 man-hours and is fully documented in extensive logbooks. Finally, the 15,000 kilogram EBM 720 unit was built in 2000 and is currently in operation. It consistently produces over 15 kilowatts of sellable energy. The entire testing procedure since 1992 has been carefully set up to measure not only the electric output, but also the heat output. The white thermal box covering the EBM 720 machine is a carefully constructed double-walled enclosure, and its purpose is to accurately measure the total
That should keep the voltage and the average completely stable.
What's the wattage on those lights?
Right now, we're at, the lights were at about 900 watts.
900 watts of light bulbs, and it hasn't slowed down at all.
No, it won't slow down. That's old school stuff when you got to slow down.
So it's running itself and providing power.
Yeah.
So it's self-sustaining.
Yep. So basically that's it. Too great to look at.
Can this be scaled up?
Oh yeah. We've already done over 20 million watts of power on different tests for ourselves, basically.
Now, a device like this, could it be used to run a car, or would it just be used to run a house, or a building, or a factory, or what would you do?
Already run cars, already run houses.
So this is old to you.
Yep.
Now, as it's running, can you explain a little bit how this power could be self-sustaining? Is it from that big box of capacitors you have down there?
The capacitors help establish the resonance. Those are AC capacitors. The energy, they go to zero about 100 times a second. They're going to zero. So they're charging and discharging to make an oscillation, a resonant type oscillation.
So it wouldn't be possible for those capacitors to hold the storage charge you'd need to keep that motor running?
Those capacitors, best case scenario, you can get the lights to light up for maybe 10 seconds. Best case scenario.
So the secret isn't in that little starter motor down there, and it's not in the capacitor, so it's obviously in that huge motor you've got running in the center.
Well, this and the electronics will go with it.
Okay. Now, why hasn't the public seen something like this before?
Because most people only know, they think the only thing that exists is electron flow, and they don't know that there's lots of forms. Nikola Tesla said there's many forms of electromagnetic forces or electromagnetic flows, electromagnetic types of electromagnetism, if you want to say it that way.
Okay.
Almost everybody's only familiar with electron flow. Well, actually, most people are not even familiar with that. The only thing they teach in colleges, I'll put it that way, is electron flow. That's it. There's many other things. You need to know how to work with several of them to get them to work right.
Okay. So the trick is not only just being able to build it, it's knowing how to tune what you're building.
Right.
Okay. Is this a science that's readily known anywhere in the world, or is it something you guys have come up with?
Well,
we've developed, that we've redeveloped. And Keeley was the original one in this country that I know of. Stubblefield